what resonates with your heart and release anything that isn't meant for you. Something pressed against my chest the second I sat down, and the cards feel saturated with longing. The pull coming off this spread is not ordinary. It vibrates with an ache that rewrites a person. I was not expecting this level of raw intensity, but the deck had other plans for you tonight. Before a single card turned face up, the emotional residue sitting on this table was unmistakable. Three of Swords appeared first and practically trembled, its image split open like a wound still fresh. This card holds grief actively pulsing through a person, not stored away, but present and still moving. A song triggered everything this person had suppressed, and the floodgates opened completely without mercy. It was not just any song either. It was the one tied to a specific moment with you. The melody carried your voice back into their ears, your laugh back into their chest like a collision. Three of Swords confirms this was not small. It was the kind of cry that empties you completely. Their hands covered their face and breathing turned jagged because your memory arrived uninvited and whole. They could not skip the track or shut it off. Something inside them needed to absorb every second. The tears were not sadness alone. They were the recognition that nothing has replaced what you were. Every note peeled back another layer of composure, and underneath all of it sat only your name. This person sat alone in their car or room, letting the music hold what their arms could not. Three of Swords tells me the crying lasted longer than expected, and its depth genuinely frightened them. They did not plan to fall apart over a melody, but the body always remembers what minds bury. The shaking in their hands did not stop when the song ended, because the wound stayed wide open. Wheel of Fortune spins into this spread next, and it confirms a cycle is now completing itself. This card governs the turning points that no planning can manufacture and no careful effort can prevent. The universe is rotating this connection back into alignment, and the song cracked the seal on it. Wheel of Fortune does not appear for minor shifts. It marks the moments where trajectories get rewritten. This person stood at the edge of forgetting you, and fate pulled them back with one single melody. The timing was never random or accidental. The song found them precisely when resistance was at its lowest. Their guard dropped for the first time in weeks, and your memory walked straight through the opening. Wheel of Fortune confirms what unfolds between you now was always destined to circle back around eventually. No amount of distance or silence could halt this return, because the bond outweighs the separation entirely. They tried to outrun what they felt for you, and the wheel kept spinning them back to center. The pull you represent in their life is magnetic, and no willpower has been able to break it. The magician closes this opening spread with authority, and the power from it is completely deliberate. This card represents manifestation at its purest, and your energy is what called this entire moment forward. You have been on their mind so consistently that your presence became a frequency they cannot escape. The magician confirms your face is all they see, behind closed eyelids and across every crowded room. They spot you in strangers who walk the same way, in habits absorbed from months spent beside you. Your image is not fading inside their memory, it sharpens with every single day that passes in silence. The magician tells me this fixation is not obsession, it is the gravity of unfinished sacred connection. Your energy imprinted on them deeper than conscious thought, and no distraction has managed to reach it. They tried replacing your face with new ones, and every attempt only made the original image sharper. The music was merely the trigger for what surfaced, but the flood it released was stored for months. What you hear across this reading will confirm clearly that their entire world still orbits around yours. The tears from that song unlocked something permanent, and it cannot be contained or sealed shut again. The cards are turning their attention fully toward you now, and what they mirror back is deeply personal. Everything in this section belongs to your experience alone, and the honesty here may catch you off guard. The hermit steps forward first in your position, and the solitude surrounding this card matches your life. You have been carrying this weight in total isolation, choosing to process the ache without any witness. The hermit tells me you withdrew into yourself gradually, dimming your presence to survive what you felt. People around you noticed something shifted, but you deflected every question with a smile that cost you. The loneliness was not circumstantial or accidental. It was a cocoon you wrapped around an open wound. You stopped talking about this person to friends because saying their name made the missing too concrete. Silence felt safer than explanation, and eventually you trained yourself to pretend the ache was absent. The hermit confirms you walked through entire weeks performing a version of yourself that felt borrowed. You laughed at the right moments and showed up where expected, but none of it reached your center. There were nights you scrolled through old photos alone, torturing yourself with proof of what once existed. You memorized timestamps and locations without meaning to, building a museum of moments inside your phone. The hermit reveals the depth of your private grief, the one you never spoke about or posted publicly. You convinced yourself that hiding the pain meant controlling it, but suppression only deepened the imprint. Every quiet evening alone became another conversation with their ghost, replaying what you should have said. You stopped checking if they viewed your posts because the hope itself was more painful than silence. The mask you wore for the outside world fit perfectly, but behind closed doors, it fell off immediately. Seven of Pentacles roots itself beside the Hermit, and this card reflects the patience you quietly invested. You poured time and care into this connection, cultivating something real with your bare hands and heart. Seven of Pentacles tells me you are exhausted from wondering whether any of that devotion will return. The doubt in your chest is not weakness. It is the bruise left by unanswered and invisible giving. You gave this person access to parts of yourself that others have never touched or even glimpsed once. That vulnerability does not regenerate quickly, and the fear of it being wasted haunts you every night. You keep asking one question before sleep arrives: whether they carry you with the same impossible weight. Seven of Pentacles confirms the harvest you planted is alive, growing quietly beneath the surface of things. The seeds you placed inside this connection took root, deeper than either of you realized at the time. You gave to this bond without ever measuring cost, and now you finally feel how much it took. Your patience was never passive or naive at all. It was strength that most people cannot possibly sustain. You waited without guarantee and loved without proof, and that required more raw courage than walking away. Queen of Wands blazes into your final position, and her fire reflects the part of you that refuses. This card tells me a flame lives inside you, one that distance could not extinguish, no matter what. Queen of Wands governs the fierce and magnetic spirit, and that energy is what originally drew them in. You radiate something that other people orbit naturally, and this person felt that pull deeper than most. The confidence you wear in public is real, but beneath it sits tenderness you only revealed to them. That duality is what makes you impossible to forget. Strength wrapped around softness few people witness. Queen of Wands confirms your energy did not weaken in separation. It concentrated into something fiercer. You became sharper and more self-possessed in the quiet, and that evolution is what calls them back. You did not shrink during the distance. You expanded in ways they will recognize the moment they return. The question you carry does not need your voice, because the next cards will speak entirely for them. The energy in this spread is rotating away from you and landing squarely inside their private experience. Nothing here belongs to guesswork or assumption. The cards pulled their truth to the surface without permission. Page of Swords drops into their position first, and the nervous energy vibrating off this card is restless. This person has been watching you from a careful distance, gathering information without making themselves visible. They checked your social media more times than dignity allowed, scrolling carefully to avoid accidental reactions. Page of Swords tells me they studied your recent photos, searching your face for signs of missing them. Every post you shared was analyzed for hidden meaning, every caption read twice for emotional subtext. They zoomed in on backgrounds looking for evidence, terrified of spotting a new presence beside you. The surveillance was not casual or passing. It was systematic and driven by a fear they cannot name. Page of Swords confirms they built a narrative from fragments, filling every gap with their worst anxieties. They convinced themselves you had moved on happily, and that fiction burned worse than the actual separation. The story they invented about your life without them was the sharpest blade held against their own chest. They created a version of you that did not need them and suffered inside that hallucination alone. Page of Swords reveals the mental loops that kept them cycling between manufactured hope and invented despair. Their mind became a courtroom where your absence was tried and every verdict came back guilty. They blamed themselves for the distance more than you know, replaying choices they can never undo. The restlessness in this card has not settled since the song. It only amplified what was already spiraling. Four of Cups settles beside that restless page, and the apathy it reflects is a disguise for devastation. This card shows a person who appears emotionally shut down, but underneath that stillness lives a scream. They turned down invitations and canceled plans repeatedly, not from peace, but from inability to perform. Four of Cups tells me they sat in rooms full of people, feeling absolutely nothing for anyone present. The numbness was not healing or acceptance, it was their nervous system protecting them from total collapse. They stared at their phone, hoping your name would appear, while terrified of what it would actually mean. This person lost interest in things that once excited them because joy without you tasted hollow and fake. Music became dangerous territory after the song incident, every playlist now a minefield of shared memory. Their appetite vanished on certain evenings without explanation, and the emptiness they felt was not hunger. Four of Cups confirms they are emotionally frozen in place, unable to advance or fully retreat backward. The paralysis is not indifference in disguise, it is grief wearing the mask of a person still coping. They showed up to work and completed every obligation, while their chest carried weight nobody else detected. King of Pentacles arrives last in their section, and the burden of responsibility on this card is enormous. This person held their external life together with discipline, while internally every structure was crumbling. King of Pentacles tells me they provided for others, showed public strength, and kept every commitment standing. But the cost of that performance was staggering because it left zero space for their own emotional needs. They prioritized stability over vulnerability, choosing to fracture quietly rather than burden those around them. The king in this position reveals a person starving for softness, for the safety you once offered freely. They crave the version of rest that only existed beside you, where pretending was never required at all. King of Pentacles confirms their outer world looks intact, but the foundation beneath it is fractured completely. Your face returned to them through that song, and it destroyed every wall the king had carefully built. Their side of this story is not recovery. It is a person frozen mid-collapse, pretending to stand. What comes next shifts into action and momentum. The stillness from the last spread just shattered, and what replaces it now is pure directional force. Every card in the section carries velocity behind it, and the movement points unmistakably toward you. Ace of Wands ignites this action spread instantly, and the spark coming off it refuses to be contained. This card represents the birth of a new impulse, raw and urgent and completely resistant to hesitation. The song did not just make them cry, it lit a fuse that is still burning inside them. Ace of Wands tells me the decision to contact you arrived fully formed, not gradual, but like lightning. One moment they were broken on the floor, and the next they knew with certainty what to do. The impulse to reach out did not ask permission. It overrode every rational objection within seconds. This is not a person weighing options carefully. This is instinct moving faster than conscious thought. Ace of Wands confirms they felt a surge of clarity after tears, sharper than anything logic produced. The crying emptied them of resistance completely, and into that vacancy rushed a purpose aimed at you. They are already drafting what to say, editing and rewriting inside their head during every quiet moment. The opening line has changed a dozen times already, because nothing feels equal to what they carry. Ace of Wands guarantees the contact is imminent. This card never allows intention to sit idle for long. The fire behind this impulse is not reckless. It is the calm that follows a necessary total collapse. They move toward you with stillness underneath the urgency, rooted in something they have finally accepted. The acceptance changed everything for them. They stopped fighting the truth and simply let it lead. Their hands are no longer shaking from the breakdown. They are steady now with the weight of decision. Justice arrives next in this action spread, and its presence adds a layer of deliberate accountability. This card governs balance and karmic correction, and here it signals a person ready to own their part. They are not approaching you with excuses or deflection. They are coming prepared to take full responsibility. Justice tells me they cataloged their own mistakes already, naming each one without minimizing the damage. The confession heading toward you includes admissions they never voiced, not even to themselves until now. They understand now that silence was its own betrayal, and they refuse to add more weight to that. Justice confirms the apology forming in them is specific, not a blanket statement designed to close things. They want to name what they did and what it cost, because vague remorse insults everything you are. This card holds them accountable in ways they cannot escape, and for the first time, they welcome it. The scales are tipping toward reconciliation now, and the momentum behind that tilt is fully irreversible. They seek honesty as a foundation to rebuild from, not forgiveness wrapped in a convenient transaction. Six of Pentacles closes this action spread, and what it places on the table is genuine substance. This card represents giving without expectation of return, and this person is prepared to lead with generosity. They will not arrive demanding your attention or time. They will arrive with open hands and nothing hidden. Six of Pentacles tells me they plan to offer something tangible, not just words, but evidence of change. The action includes adjustments already underway in their life, shifts in behavior that preceded the contact. They began changing before they decided to reach out, because the breakdown rearranged their actual priorities. Six of Pentacles confirms this is not desperation in disguise. It is restructured devotion carrying clear intent. The offering they bring will match the depth of the wound, because anything less would dishonor what existed. The approach heading your way carries substance and weight, backed by accountability and genuine emotional offering. Every card in this section moved in one direction, and that alignment tells me the timeline is days. The urgency in this spread leaves no room for delay, and what arrives next will confirm that further. The cards are descending into territory this person never intended to reveal, and what lives here is raw. These are the confessions they rehearse at 3 in the morning, ones that never survive the daylight. Two of Cups appears first in the confession position, and what it exposes is a bond they canonized. This person elevated your connection to something sacred, a standard nothing else in their life has reached. They never told you how deeply the attachment rooted, because admitting it made them feel dangerously exposed. Two of Cups tells me they replayed one exchange between you, a moment that permanently altered their chemistry. It might have been a look lasting one beat too long, or words spoken without knowing their weight. That moment became a wound they kept reopening on purpose, pressing into it just to feel you again. The hidden confession is that they measured every relationship afterward against that single exchange with you. Nobody passed the test, and nobody came close, because the bar you set was never about being flawless. It was about the safety they felt beside you, a warmth they have not been able to recreate. Two of Cups confirms they carry a private belief that you two were destined for something left unfinished. They would never say that publicly or write it anywhere visible, but it governs their decisions quietly. Every time they considered starting fresh with a new face, your image appeared and shut the door. The confession buried deepest is that they compare how others touch them to the way your hands felt. Physical closeness with anyone else feels borrowed and temporary because their body still answers to your rhythm. You are not crazy for feeling this in your bones. They carry it in the same hidden place. The recognition is mutual, and it always was, even when silence made it feel completely one-directional. Nine of Wands steps into the confession spread next, and it reveals the exhaustion behind their long silence. This card shows a person defending themselves against their own feelings and steadily losing that internal war. They built 9 walls between their heart and your memory, and your face broke through every single one. Nine of Wands tells me the confession is exhaustion. They are tired of pretending they recovered. The performance of being fine consumed more energy than the grief, and they have absolutely nothing left. They flinch when your name surfaces in conversation, not from old pain, but from a longing that ambushes. The flinch is involuntary and visible to others, and they built excuses around it to avoid the questions. They changed the subject every time a friend mentioned you, because hearing updates felt like swallowing glass. Nine of Wands confirms they are worn from guarding a secret, that loving you never stopped being daily. The weariness on this card is not defeat, it is the final exhale before complete voluntary surrender. They are done pretending the wound closed, because the song proved it was bleeding open the entire time. The Emperor arrives last in this confession spread, and the admission it carries is the most unexpected. This card represents structure and authority, and this person secretly wants to build a life alongside you. The hidden confession is not just missing you, it is seeing you as permanent architecture in their world. They imagine holidays and ordinary mornings, your coffee order memorized, and your coat hanging beside theirs. The Emperor confirms they designed a future around you, one they never shared or spoke into existence. They kept that blueprint locked inside their chest, terrified that voicing it would make the loss unbearable. The vision includes growing old beside you specifically, not as fantasy, but as the only plan that fits. They confess in silence that no ambition or achievement fills the space where your presence should sit. Everything you suspected about how deeply they felt, the cards have now confirmed without any reservation. Their hidden world revolves around what you built together, and nothing in their life has replaced it. The final part of this reading maps the near future, and the timeline it sets will change everything. The reading reaches its final destination now, and the cards here map exactly what is heading toward you. Ten of Cups lands first in the future position, and the promise radiating from this card is undeniable. This is the card of emotional fulfillment and reunion, and it rarely appears without delivering on its weight. Ten of Cups tells me the reconnection is not a possibility. It is a certainty, already in motion. The contact arrives within the next 10 to 14 days, carrying every word they have been composing. When it lands, the air will shift around you because their energy reaches you before any words do. Ten of Cups confirms the outcome holds genuine potential for lasting repair, not just a temporary reopening. Knight of Wands charges into the spread beside it, and the passion fueling this card cannot be overstated. This knight represents bold and fearless pursuit, a person no longer willing to let distance dictate anything. They are coming toward you with an intensity that may catch you off guard, raw and completely unfiltered. Knight of Wands tells me they will not approach cautiously. They arrive with their entire truth visible. The sun closes this entire reading, and its warmth flooding this final position confirms clarity and healing. This card represents joy after prolonged darkness, and it tells me the reunion carries light for both. The sun confirms the heaviness of this separation is ending, not through force, but through natural alignment. What these three cards promise together is rare, and the convergence of their energy should not be ignored. My guidance as you prepare for what approaches is vital, and I need you to receive it openly. When their message arrives, do not armor yourself. Let the words land fully before you build a response. Your instinct may be to protect what the silence cost, but walls will block what belongs to you. Listen with your body before answering with your mind, because your gut already knows what to do here. You do not owe them immediate forgiveness, but you owe yourself the chance to hear what they carried. Allow the conversation to breathe without rushing resolution, because real repair moves at its own sacred speed. Protect your boundaries without barricading your heart. This is one of the rare connections worth that risk. If the weight of their words overwhelms you at first, take space before responding and trust the timing. The right response will come naturally, so trust yourself to know the difference between fear and wisdom. Now, let me circle back to the original message that pressed through from the very first card pulled. A song came on and they cried for you, and your face is all that they see anymore. Three of Swords revealed the breakdown the song ignited, tearing through every layer of built composure. Wheel of Fortune confirmed a destined cycle returning, and the Magician proved your energy called it forward. The Hermit mirrored the isolation you chose for survival, and Seven of Pentacles honored your patient devotion. Queen of Wands reflected the fierce flame inside you, one that separation only made burn even brighter. Page of Swords exposed their obsessive surveillance from distance, and Four of Cups revealed emotional paralysis. King of Pentacles showed the crumbling structure behind composure, held together by discipline and nothing else. Ace of Wands ignited the impulse to finally reach out, and Justice brought full accountability to it. Six of Pentacles confirmed the offering heading your way carries substance, not hollow emotional words alone. Two of Cups held the sacred bond they canonized in private, and Nine of Wands exposed their exhaustion. The Emperor revealed they designed a future around you, one built quietly inside their chest for months. This reading confirmed what your soul already sensed, that this connection never ended but went underground. The bond between you and this person is not finished. It is a story that is still unfolding. Everything you felt in the silence was real, and proof of that arrives on a timeline already set. Thank you for trusting me with every part of this reading. Your presence tonight carried genuine weight. Ten of Cups lands first in the future position, and the promise radiating from this card